Rain pounded the Sullivan house as Maggie clutched an empty ring box, her heart breaking. Jake's gambling had stolen everything savings trust their future. Tonight, she'd take a desperate gamble to save him, one that might change everything. Rain battered the roof of the Sullivan house in Cleveland, Ohio, a relentless drumbeat that matched the pounding in Maggie Sullivan's heart. Inside, the glow of a computer screen cast sharp shadows across the living room. Jake Sullivan sat hunched over the desk, his fingers flying across the keyboard eyes, locked on a cascade of numbers flashing red and green. The air smelled of stale coffee and takeout containers piled in the corner. Maggie stood in the doorway, clutching an empty velvet box, her breath catching as she traced the faded inscription inside, always and forever. The ring, Jake's mother's antique heirloom, a symbol of their 10-year marriage, was gone. Pawned. Another casualty of Jake's gambling. Maggie's voice trembled as she whispered to herself, "How many always have you thrown away, Jake?" She glanced at a photo on the mantel, their daughter Lily smiling at her 8th birthday party. That savings account for Lily's college drained. Their retirement fund. A memory. Maggie's fingers tightened around the box. She'd tried everything, reasoned tears, ultimatums. Nothing reached him. Not anymore. She pulled out her phone hands, shaking, and dialed. "Tina. It's Maggie. I don't know what to do anymore." He pawned the ring, Tina. His mom's ring. It's all gone. Everything we built. He's not listening. It's like he's someone else. Tina Morales. Maggie's best friend and a social worker at Hope Haven Shelter sighed through the phone. "Maggie, honey. I know it hurts. I've seen addiction tear people apart. But sometimes it takes a shock to wake them up. Something drastic. Bring him to the shelter tomorrow. Tell him whatever you need to get him there. We'll take it from there. It won't be easy, but it might just save him." Maggie nodded, though Tina couldn't see her. "Okay, I'll do it. I have to try." The next morning, Cleveland was cloaked in gray, the kind of damp chill that seeps into your bones. Maggie stood by the kitchen counter, sipping coffee that tasted like regret. Jake stumbled in, bleary-eyed, his tie loosened from a night of losing bets online. "Morning, babe." He mumbled, not meeting her eyes. Late night at the bank again, Maggie forced a smile. "Jake, I need you to come with me today. There's this charity event downtown. They're asking for volunteers. I thought it'd be good for us to do something together." Jake raised an eyebrow, skeptical, but too tired to argue. "Charity, huh? Sure, why not? Beat sitting around here." He adjusted his suit jacket, still clinging to the image of the successful banker he used to be. Maggie drove in silence, the windshield wipers slapping rhythmically. Jake fiddled with his phone, unaware it was in Maggie's purse, along with his wallet. The city blurred past strip malls, boarded-up storefronts, a pawnshop sign flickering in the distance. Maggie's stomach twisted as she turned into a cracked parking lot. A faded sign loomed ahead, Hope Haven Homeless Shelter. Jake frowned, leaning forward. "Maggie, what is this? This isn't some charity gala." Maggie gripped the steering wheel, her knuckles white. "I'm sorry, Jake. I didn't know what else to do. You need to see what you're doing to us, to Lily, to me. Stay here tonight. Just one night. Please." Before Jake could respond, 2 burly men in shelter uniforms approached the car. One opened Jake's door, his voice gruff but calm. "Come on, pal. Time to go." Jake's eyes widened. "Maggie, what the hell? You can't just leave me here." He reached for his phone, then realized it was gone. Maggie. She didn't look back as she drove away, tears streaming down her face. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I'm so sorry." Inside Hope Haven, the air was thick with the smell of disinfectant and unwashed clothes. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, casting a harsh glow on scuffed linoleum floors. Jake stood frozen as the heavy iron door clanged shut behind him. A woman with a clipboard, her badge reading Tina Morales, approached. "Name Jake Sullivan," he muttered, still processing. "This is a mistake. I'm not supposed to be here." Tina's eyes softened, but her tone was firm. No mistake, Jake. You're here for the night. Get settled. Bed 12 over there. She pointed to a row of metal bunk beds, each with a thin mattress and a scratchy blanket. Jake's heart pounded. You don't understand. I have a job, a family. I'm not homeless. Tina didn't flinch. You're here now. Make the best of it. She walked away, leaving Jake standing alone in a sea of strangers. Men muttering to themselves, a woman clutching a tattered backpack, a kid in a hoodie staring at the floor. Jake found bed 12 and sat his suit ridiculously out of place. The bunk creaked under him. Across the room, a woman with gray hair and kind eyes watched him. She wore a faded cardigan, her hands folded neatly in her lap. First night's the hardest, she said softly. I'm Clara. Clara Hayes. Jake nodded curtly, not in the mood for conversation. Jake. Clara smiled, undeterred. You don't look like you belong here. But then none of us thought we did at first. Jake didn't respond, his mind racing. How had it come to this? He was a banker, damn it. He had a house, a wife, a daughter. But the truth gnawed at him, the late nights, the bets, the lies. He'd pawned his mother's ring for a sure thing that never came. He buried his face in his hands, the weight of it all crashing down. That night, sleep didn't come. The shelter was a cacophony of snores, coughs, and restless movement. Jake lay awake staring at the ceiling, Maggie's face haunting him. He saw Lily's smile, heard her giggle from that birthday party. What kind of father was he? The question burned, but no answer came. The next morning, Jake sat in the shelter's cafeteria, picking at a plate of watery oatmeal. Clara slid into the seat across from him, her son Darius hovering nearby. Darius was in his mid-20s, wiry with a scowl that seemed permanent. What's your deal? Darius asked, crossing his arms. Rich guy slumming it for a night? Some kind of stunt, Jake bristled. It's not a stunt. My wife... She thought I needed a wake-up call. Darius snorted. Yeah, well, some of us don't get to just walk away after a night. Me and Mom? We've been here 6 months. Lost everything, 'cause some slick-talking broker scammed her out of her retirement. Clara put a hand on Darius's arm. Enough Jake's here now. No need to make it harder than it is. Jake shifted uncomfortably. What happened to you? The scam, I mean. Clara sighed, her eyes distant. I was a bookkeeper for 30 years. Saved every penny for retirement. Then this guy, real charming, nice suit, promised high returns, low risk. Said it was a sure thing. Next thing I know, our savings are gone, and we're out on the street. Darius tried to keep us afloat, but... She trailed off, her voice heavy. Jake's stomach twisted. He knew those promises too well. The thrill of a sure thing, the rush of a bet. He'd fallen for it again and again. I'm sorry, he said the words, feeling inadequate. Clara shrugged. Life happens. You just keep going. Over the next few days, Jake settled into the shelter's rhythm, though he hated every second. He swept floors, served meals, anything to keep busy. But the urge to gamble clawed at him, especially at night when the shelter's Wi-Fi tempted him to check betting sites. He fought it, picturing Lily's face, Maggie's tears. One afternoon, Clara approached him clutching a stack of papers. Jake, you ever deal with forms? Applications, that kind of thing. I'm trying to get housing assistance, but this paperwork, it's a maze. Jake took the papers, scanning the dense text. I used to work at a bank. Dealt with financial forms all the time. Let me take a look. For the first time in days, Jake felt a spark of purpose. He sat with Clara in the shelter's cramped library, poring over the forms. The fine print was brutal proof of hardship income statements, endless hoops to jump through. But Jake's old skills kicked in. He found a clause, buried in the fine print, a special provision for victims of financial fraud. Clara, this could work. He said, his voice tinged with excitement. You were scammed. There's a fund for people like you. It's a long shot, but we can try. Clara's eyes lit up. You think so, oh Jake? If you can help. Darius, leaning against the wall, raised an eyebrow. You sure you know what you're doing, man? Last thing Mom needs is more false hope. I know what I'm doing, Jake said, meeting Darius's gaze. I've seen scams like the one that hit your mom. I can help. For the next few hours, Jake worked tirelessly, filling out forms cross-referencing regulations. It felt better than any bet he'd ever placed. When he handed the completed application to Clara, she hugged him, tears in her eyes. Thank you, Jake. You don't know what this means. Darius nodded, his scowl softening. All right, banker. Maybe you're not so bad. Word spread through the shelter. Soon, others came to Jake, a man facing eviction, a single mom struggling with benefits. Jake listened, advised, and fought the system's red tape with a ferocity he hadn't felt in years. Each small victory, a form approved, a deadline extended, chipped away at the guilt that had consumed him. But the cravings didn't stop. One night, Jake overheard two guys in the shelter talking about an online betting app. His hands shook, his heart raced. He could almost feel the rush of placing a bet. He stumbled to the bathroom, splashing cold water on his face, trying to drown out the urge. Clara found him there, leaning against the sink. You okay, Jake? He shook his head. I want to go back. To the bets, the rush. It's like it's wired into me. Clara sat beside him, her voice steady. I wanted to believe in that broker, even after he took everything. Kept thinking I could fix it, make it right. But you know what kept me going, Darius? Knowing he needed me. Who's your reason, Jake? He closed his eyes. Maggie, Lily. I can't lose them. Then hold on to that, Clara said. It's stronger than any bet. Meanwhile, Maggie sat in Tina's office at Hope Haven, staring at grainy security footage on a laptop. There was Jake handing a blanket to a shivering woman, helping an elderly man with a form. He looked tired, his suit wrinkled, but there was something new in his eyes, purpose. Maggie's heart ached. Is this really him, Tina? Or is it just another act? Tina leaned back in her chair. Addiction's a beast, Maggie. But I've seen people change. He's fighting. That's something. Maggie wiped her eyes. I just want my husband back. The man who used to make Lily laugh, who danced with me in the kitchen. Is he still in there? Tina squeezed her hand. Give him time. He's got to want it, but he's showing signs. Back at the shelter, Jake's days blurred together. He'd been there a week each day, a battle against the pull of his addiction. Helping Clara and others gave him a lifeline, but it wasn't enough to silence the cravings. One evening, as he helped Clara with another form, he noticed a name in her file, Richard Grayson, the broker who'd scammed her. The name hit him like a punch. He'd heard it before in online betting forums, a smooth-talking con man who preyed on desperate people. Clara, this guy, Jake said, pointing to the name. I know his type. They promise the world and deliver nothing. Darius, sitting nearby, clenched his fists. That bastard took everything. Mom believed him, and now we're here. Jake's mind raced. He'd fallen for similar lies, chasing quick wins. But now he saw a chance to fight back. There's a lawyer I know from the bank, he said. Pro bono guy, hates scammers. If we can get him this file, he might be able to help. Clara's hands trembled. You think we could get something back? It's not a guarantee, Jake said, but it's a shot. He spent the next day on the shelter's ancient computer, drafting an email to the lawyer, laying out Clara's case. It felt like placing a bet, but this time it was for someone else. When he hit send, Clara grabbed his hand. Jake, no matter what happens, you've given us hope. That's more than we've had in a long time. Darius gave a reluctant nod. Didn't think you had it in you, banker. Jake managed a small smile. Neither did I. That night, the cravings hit hard. Jake sat on his bunkhead in his hands, the urge to gamble like a fire in his chest. He pictured the betting apps, the rush of a win. Then he saw Clara's hopeful face, Darius's grudging respect, Lily's smile. He stood pacing the room, fighting the pull. An old man with missing teeth, a regular at the shelter, noticed him. "Rough night, son?" he asked, handing Jake a chipped mug of coffee. Jake took it, the bitter taste grounding him. "Yeah. Trying to keep it together." The man nodded. "Been there. Booze for me. You gotta find something stronger than the itch. Family, faith, whatever it is. Hold on to it." Jake sipped the coffee, the words sinking in. "Thanks," he said quietly. The next afternoon, Maggie arrived at Hope Haven, her heart pounding. Tina had warned her Jake was different, but she braced for anger. She found him in the cafeteria, helping a young woman with a benefits form. His suit was wrinkled, his eyes bloodshot, but there was a steadiness to him she hadn't seen in years. "Jake," she said softly. He looked up, his face a mix of relief and fear. "Maggie." "You came." They stepped outside the rain, a light drizzle now. Jake took a deep breath. "I'm not gonna lie, I was mad. Real mad. But you were right. I needed this. I've been a mess, Maggie. I hurt you, Lily, everyone. But I'm trying. I'm really trying." Maggie's eyes filled with tears. "I saw you on the cameras, helping those people. Clara, Darius. It's like the old Jake." He shook his head. "Not the old Jake. I'm not that guy anymore. But I want to be better. For you, for Lily. I helped Clara with a housing application. It got approved today. She and Darius are getting a place." Maggie gasped. "Jake, that's incredible." "It's not enough," he said, his voice breaking. "I know that. But I'm fighting. I got a plan, group meetings, therapy, a job if I can get one. I wrote it all down." He pulled a crumpled paper from his pocket, a detailed list of steps to rebuild their life. Maggie took the paper, her hands shaking. "This is a start, Jake. A real start." He reached for her hand, tentative. "Can we try? I know I don't deserve it. But can we?" She squeezed his hand, a tear slipping down her cheek. "It won't be easy. But we're fighters, Jake. We always have been." They stood there, hands clasped, the rain washing over them. It wasn't a happy ending, not yet. But it was a beginning. As they walked back to the car, Clara and Darius approached. Clara hugged Jake tightly. "You're a good man, Jake Sullivan. Don't forget that." Darius extended a hand. "That lawyer called. Says we might get a settlement. Small, but something. Thanks to you." Jake shook his hand, a lump in his throat. "Just doing what I can." Maggie smiled through her tears. "Let's go home, Jake." As they drove away, the city lights blurred in the rain. Jake looked at Maggie, her profile strong and beautiful. "I love you," he said, the words raw and honest. "I love you too," she replied, her voice soft but steady. "Let's find our way back." The road ahead was long, but for the first time in years, they were on it together. Sometimes the longest journey isn't finding your way home. It's finding your way back to yourself. What would you do standing at the crossroads of your life?